The Galaxy S26 just leaked. Full specs, prices, everything, and I'm not gonna lie, this whole launch is weird. Samsung had these big plans last summer. They were gonna kill the Plus model, launch this super thin edge phone, maybe even do a compact Pro model, real innovation stuff. Then Apple dropped the iPhone 17 with zero price increase and Samsung completely panicked. They scrapped the Edge, cut all the upgrades, and now we're stuck with this half-baked lineup that still costs more money. So yeah, €999 for the base S26. That's €40 more than last year. €1,269 for the Plus. That's €100 more. And here's the fun part, they brought back Exynos. You know, the chip everyone hates. Yeah, that one. But before you rage quit this video, the Exynos thing is actually way more interesting than you think, because this isn't really about your phone. Samsung's betting their entire chip-making business on whether this thing works. Let me explain. Right now, TSMC makes chips for basically everyone. Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Qualcomm, they all use TSMC. Samsung wants that business. They want to prove they can build 2nm chips that don't suck. And the only way to do that is to put the Exynos 2600 in millions of phones and hope it doesn't overheat. You're not buying a phone. You're beta testing Samsung's Foundry technology. The leaked benchmarks are actually pretty good for AI stuff, like the Exynos 2600 scored 1185 on MLPerf tests while Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 got 880. That's the difference between live translation feeling instant versus having that awkward delay. But gaming? Yeah, Snapdragon still wins. Heavy apps? Snapdragon, it's faster at everything except AI tasks. Here's where it gets messy though. If you're in the US, you're getting Snapdragon in every model. Europe, Exynos in the base models. So Europeans are paying more money for the slower chip, which is... I don't even know how to defend that. The pricing is all over the place depending on where you live. Us buyers are getting it at $799 for the base model, same as last year. Samsung's eating like 10-15 in profit margins just to compete with the iPhone 17. You also get Snapdragon everywhere, so honestly not a terrible deal. Europe though, you're getting wrecked. €999 for the base S26, that's up from €959. The Plus is €1,269, up €100. And some leaks from Bulgaria showed prices jumping 40%, though that might be currency conversion chaos since they just switched to the euro. Oh, and Samsung's killing the free storage upgrade promo, so even if US prices stay the same, you're actually losing value. Why the split? Simple, Samsung cares way more about the US market because that's where Apple dominates. They'll take the profit hit in America. But Europe? You're subsidizing us pricing, that's just how it is. Can we talk about the S26 Plus for a second? This phone shouldn't exist. It's literally the S25 Plus with a new chip and they slapped an extra €100 on it. Same cameras, same battery, same design. It's the participation trophy of smartphones. If you're even considering the Plus, just buy the base S26 and pocket the €270 difference. Or spend the extra €200 and get the Ultra. The Plus makes no sense. Speaking of the Ultra, that's actually the only phone in this lineup where Samsung tried. €1,469, Snapdragon everywhere, 200MP camera with f1. For aperture, that's genuinely impressive for low light shots. It's also 0.3mm thinner, which, okay, cool I guess. Oh, and the leak mentioned a 500MP main camera for the base models. That's complete nonsense. It's 50MP. Someone fat-fingered that spec sheet. You know what really bothers me about this launch? The S26 Edge, Samsung was gonna make something different, super thin, new design. The renders looked sick. People were actually excited. Then they killed it, just straight up cancelled. Apple didn't raise iPhone prices, so Samsung panicked and axed anything expensive to manufacture. The Edge would have needed new tooling, new materials. All that costs money. And here's the irony, they still raised prices anyway. All that cost-cutting accomplished nothing except making the lineup boring. This is what smartphones are now in 2026. Companies are too scared to try anything because they might lose 2% market share. It's exhausting. Should you buy this? If you're in the US getting Snapdragon at $799 and you're coming from an S21 or older, sure, it's fine. Not exciting, but fine. If you're in Europe paying premium for Exynos, hold your money, wait for reviews. See if the Exynos 2600 is actually good or if we're back in 2022 when the Exynos Galaxy S22 was a disaster, because right now you're paying more to be Samsung's beta tester. If you're on an S24 or S25, there's zero reason to upgrade. Save your money. The Ultra makes sense if you need the best Samsung camera and you use the S Pen. That 200MP sensor with f1 for aperture is legitimately impressive for night shots, but the Plus, Skip it entirely. It's the most pointless phone in the lineup. The S26 isn't a bad phone. It's just stuck in this impossible position where Samsung wanted to innovate but couldn't afford to. Wanted to cut costs but still raised prices. Wanted to compete with Apple but ended up competing with themselves and bringing back Exynos. That's not about your experience. That's about Samsung proving they can build chips for the next decade of AI and data centers. You just happen to be holding the proof of concept. Launches February 25th. I'll have hands-on coverage. Subscribe if you want to see real-world Exynos versus Snapdragon testing, because that's the only thing that actually matters here. Drop a comment. Are you upgrading? Are you mad about Exynos? Are you in Europe getting screwed on pricing? I want to hear about it. I'm out.